All right, so here we are. We at Bodymass Gym, getting ready to get our body mass composition testing done. And come on inside, let's go. What's going on, guys? Of course, we're here at Bodymass Gym and we're getting ready to get some things tested here. I got Virginia right here. She's gonna explain to you what we're getting ready to do.
Cool. So we are going to be doing a Dexa scan today with Charjo. So this piece of equipment that Charjo and I are sitting on is called a Dexa scan. It's designed to be a medical piece of equipment, however we use it for body composition purposes. So the way it's structured is there's an x-ray in the bottom, a low dosage x-ray, and there's a sensor in this top piece. What's going to happen, as you guys will see, Charjo will lay down nice and still. It'll take about 7 or 8 minutes for the scan to pass from his head all the way down to his toes. During that time, the x-ray is bouncing off the sensor that's in the top piece and it's determining the density of the tissue that's in between. So there's 3 types of tissue we'll be looking at: bone, muscle or lean mass, and fat mass. Each of those different tissues they each have their own density. So based off of what it picks up, we can determine exactly how much of each type of tissue Charjo has in his body, as well as exactly where it's distributed. So it's fast, it's easy, lots of detailed info, so yeah.
Absolutely. So we're gonna see a lot of fat mass because it's off season. So we're trying to get these gains.
And a lot of muscle mass.
Yeah, I guess I still got some, but you know, I have accumulated a lot of fat. So let me set your expectations. Don't be alarmed when you don't see any cuts. A lot of holiday eating.
Well, yeah, not for right now.
Right.
Then when you come back for your show, then you'll be all lean, it'll be good.
Exactly. So that's the whole point. You're gonna be able to follow me as I prepare myself for the 2019 season. So you'll see fat me all the way down to lean me.
Okay, so what I want to show you here are these 2 different views of yourself. So this is obviously your skeletal view, and this is your soft tissue view. On the soft tissue view, anywhere that's really dark is going to be areas that are more dense. Anywhere that's really light are areas that are less dense. So obviously, Charjo has a lot of muscle through his arms and through his legs and even through his trunk, so you can really see that visually represented here. What we have as well are different quadrants of the body as they're broken down. So if we look at this view here, we'll break his body mass down into his right arm, his left arm, his right leg, his left leg, as well as the right and left side of his trunk. And so we take that as this rectangle and triangle here when we refer to the trunk. On this side, we have an area through his belly that's called his android. And we have an area through his hips and butt that are called his gynoid. So we'll look here, we're going to look at some of the more general information, and then as the pages go on, it'll get more and more detailed. So what we're looking at, this graph right here, is your body fat percentage. So right now it's just tracked as a data point, but as you come back for more scans, you'll start to see this graph. The goal, especially as you start to prep and get ready for a show, is we want to see that go down. But as you're bulking, it'll probably go up first, and then start to drop back down. When we look at your body here on a whole body basis, we have your tissue percent fat, or essentially your body fat percentage, at 14.2. So total weight, we weighed you in at 224.6, and that 224.6 is broken down into 3 numbers. Pounds of fat, 30.7, pounds of lean mass, 185.5, and then pounds of bone, 8.3. So what we're really going to be concerned with over the progress of bulking and then cutting is what happens to your pounds of fat and what happens to your pounds of lean. So we want to bulk, have that go up, and then we want to cut and have that go down. So this next page is going to have a little bit more detail. So again, the same chart that's tracking your percent body fat, but over here we have two different data points. This black data point is your pounds of fat. So again, we'll start to see how that tracks over time, and that correlates to this axis over here. This pink dot is your fat-free mass, or your lean in your bone, corresponding to this axis on the right here, and we'll see how that starts to change over time. So as we come back for more and more scans, we'll start to actually create a graph with this. And it'll be neat to start to track and see exactly what's happening to your body as you prep. So this detailed line here is going to give us a little bit more information than the previous page. So some of it is similar. We still have your percent body fat at 14.2, your total body weight at 224.6, your pounds of fat, pounds of lean, and pounds of bone. What we also have is a number that's known as your fat-free mass. This is basically just your lean and your bone combined. We also have a number that's called your tissue. Your tissue is your lean and your fat combined. So basically your body without the skeleton, your body without the fat. So when we're looking at your body fat percentage, we want to compare your fat to your tissue, because bone isn't going to change, right? Your bone's going to essentially weigh the same, but your lean and your fat are going to change. So when we look at your tissue percent fat, we're looking at your fat compared to the amount of tissue in your body, or we're looking at 30.7 divided into 216.2. When we look over here at what's known as your region percent fat, on this one we're looking at your fat relative to your total body mass, meaning we take into consideration the weight of your skeleton. But it's not, so that number is slightly less. It's not that one is right or wrong. We just look at tissue percent fat because those are the variables that you can change. You can change your lean and your fat. You can't really change your bone. So that's the number we go off of. Does that kind of make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Numbers down here are going to be really interesting. So we have this number here that's called your android, which is essentially your belly. So that's in this area right here. So this will be where a lot of people, as they compete, start to see a drastic change, right? Especially men, they put on weight, they tend to put more of the fat through their belly. So you're at 16.4, so slightly higher than your total body fat percentage in your android region. Then we have your gynoid, which is your hips and your butt. And that's in this region right here. That's a little bit low. It's a little bit higher than that. But that's your gynoid at 12.4%. So what we're looking at from a health standpoint is your android to gynoid ratio. And we want that number, that waist, or that belly to hips and butt, to be a number less than 1. Now, because you're bulking and your purpose right now is you want to gain size, we don't really care about that so much right now. That's more just for general health. So that's something we look at kind of for general population, not so much competitors. This, I always love seeing this, especially with competitors. So this is your BMI. So this is kind of what the government says is, are you somebody who's underweight, normal, overweight, or obese? If you look at this, according to BMI standards, you're way overweight, if not almost obese.
All right.
That is because this is strictly height and weight. And because you have 185.5 pounds of muscle mass, lean mass, you weigh a lot, even though your body fat percentage is way low. Like your body fat percentage, if you look here, is well below normal. You're well in this range for body fat percentage. So that's always interesting for people like you who have a lot of muscle. Okay, so this page is going to give a lot of detail. So the two main columns we want to look at here is your pounds of fat and your pounds of lean mass. And we can see how your fat and your lean are distributed through all these different segments of your body. So we can look at how your lean or your muscle compares on right and left sides of your body. We can also see specifically where your body changes in terms of fat and specifically where it changes in terms of lean. So during your bulk, if you put on, say, 10 pounds of lean mass, we can see specifically where did you put on that lean mass. As you cut, if you lose whatever 20 pounds of fat, you can see specifically where did you lose that fat from. So it'll give us really good detail. Today, what we're going to look at is the comparison between your left and right side of your body. So obviously with bodybuilding, a lot of it's based off of symmetry. You want to make sure you're developing similarly on both sides of the body. So when we look at your arms, you have 14.8 pounds of muscle in your right arm, 15.1 pounds of muscle in your left arm. So slightly more in your left than your right, but a very negligible amount. So again, we just want to make sure that those numbers don't get greater, and we want to work on just slightly bridging that gap. When we look at your legs, your right leg has 31.0 pounds